Psychic Radio, psychiconair.com, WYCD HD3 Detroit, KJAQ HD3 Seattle, WBMX HD3 Boston, and on AOL Radio and Yahoo Launchcast. Powered by CBS Radio.
Look for Psychic Radio on your AOL radio player.
We know you're listening. Talk about telekinetic activity on Psychic Radio. Now back to Para-X Caps with Dave and Tommy Jones. Call now 248-353-SOUL. Psychic Radio. PsychicOnAir.com. Believe.
And welcome once again to a brand new edition of the KAPS Paranormal Radio Show. This is Dave.
And this is Tom. And Dave, I actually got lost in Kentucky yesterday.
Yeah, you did. And
our good friend Don from NKPI got lost in Kentucky. Henry got lost in Kentucky, but we found where we were going, but had a wonderful time.
Yes, but just for the record, somebody didn't get lost. That was me. So I'm just going to say that to everybody. Now,
but you did call me, ask me where was it at.
Well, that's true.
You knew where you was going.
Well, sort of. But remember who I called and asked.
That's right. And you beat me there. And I was the one who got lost.
So see, I took his information, I took his advice, and did the exact opposite and got there. So
but I didn't take my own advice and went the opposite way.
There we are. But it's great to have everybody on tonight. We appreciate you so much. It's always a long week whenever we do the show, and we finish up and we wait till the next time. But we're here tonight. We appreciate all of our listeners. Again, want to mention our website. Please visit us there at www.capsonline.com. That's caps with a K, online.com. Put on your favorites, please. www.para-x.com. That's the website for the Para-X Radio Network. And also a wonderful place to put on your favorites, and that is www.psychiconair.com. That is the website for Psychic Radio on CBS, through which you're listening tonight, possibly. And also, if you missed the show tonight, which we hope you don't, and if you're listening tonight, obviously you're not missing it, but for those who might miss it, you might want to tell folks where they can find out where to listen to it again, Tom.
Yes, you can go to www.capspodcast.com, caps with a K, podcast.com. All of our archive shows are there. Our older shows are on our other website at capsonline.com. Click on the podcast link. You'll see the older show link. Go there. You'll have a fun time listening to those older shows. By all means, you need to go.
Yeah, you'll have a lot of good time. Also, we want to welcome our folks that were listening in Detroit, Michigan on WYCD. Welcome, folks. Also, we want to mention our listeners in Boston and WBMX Radio. We appreciate them. And also in Seattle, Washington, Tom. And the call letters are
KJAQ 96.5 HD3.
There we go. So we appreciate all those listeners there, and please make yourself a part of the show tonight. I also want to mention our call-in number. If you'd like to call in, we're going to have a lot of great things happening tonight, a lot of fun. So we want you to take part in it with us. You can call us at 248-353-7685. It's 248-353-SOUL. Also, if you'd like to do this via the keyboard, you can always come to our chat room on the Para-X Radio Network. Again, it's on para-x.com. Hit the live chat tab. You're brought right into the chat room. You can talk to us via chat anytime. And also, remember the instant feedback form on the Psychic On Air website. Again, that's psychiconair.com. Go to the instant feedback. We get it immediately, Tom.
Yes, and I have got some shout-outs. I've got a great shout-out right now. I just found out about this a while ago. Dave told me. I also got an email. It is Jimmy Morris's birthday tomorrow. Ghost Chatter on Para-X Radio. So, happy birthday, Jimmy.
Indeed. Happy birthday, Jim.
And I got a couple of shout-outs. Sid from Maryland. He was on our show last time. Talking about Fort Mifflin. Sid is a listener. And also Michelle from Indy is a listener at KAPS Paranormal Radio.
Wonderful.
Also, we got some upcoming quick events. Believe it or not, Dave and I are going to be authors. We've got a book deal with Schiffer Books. We're going to write a book in the very, very near future. We signed all of the paperwork yesterday, so look forward to that on the New York Times bestseller.
It's entitled, probably...
Getting Lost in Kentucky.
Yeah. Probably so. So you'll have that available to you. We'll let you know more about it as time progresses, but we're looking forward to that. And some other shout-outs.
Yeah, our good friend Willie Windwalker is having an event. It's called the Psychic Paranormal Gathering August 15th and 16th in Louisville, Kentucky. You can go to myspace.com/Spirit Seekers Research and read all about it. Also, a new feature on the ParaX site on top is a photo tab, straight above the chat room, photo tab. Actually, some photos of ParaX events. Actually, I just uploaded a few a while ago on the coal miners event we did yesterday, so even our guest is up there, so you can go take a look at him. Also, the ParaX magazine, yes, it's coming. It's in the works, so stay tuned for that one. A sort of a teaser, coming St. Augustine event, TAPS event is in October through Ideal Event Management, so we will be there broadcasting live as well. And another quick shout-out, Dave, and this is it. The ParaX server may be offline for about 30 minutes tonight after midnight. Our hosting company is switching us over to a new server, so if you pop in after midnight and it's silent, just wait about 30 minutes to come back on. It'll be back on. All the listening links are the same, by the way, so...
You don't gotta do nothing except just come right back. And it'll be waiting on you. It's one of those things that they have to do for maintenance issues, and it's a brand new server, which means we probably wore the other one out, which is a good thing. And so don't despair if you happen to come on after midnight tonight on Eastern time, of course. And ParaX isn't on. Not to worry. Just hang on for a little while, and it will happen. And you can always share with those in the chat room. The chat room will always be open no matter what. So come in and enjoy that with us. And also, again, want to mention September 5th, we will be at Fort Mifflin. We want to remember the Fort Mifflin event that's coming up September 5th. We'll be there doing some stuff for the fort, and this is a fundraising event for them so that we can get them needed funds to keep the fort going. So that's September 5th. Remember that if you would. We got lots of great stuff we're going to be auctioning off. Also, we're going to have a radiothon, so that's going to be fun. We'll be doing all sorts of zany stuff during that time period. As long as you'll throw some money toward the fort, you can enjoy that, and we're looking forward to it.
Yes, our guest, David, great guy. We met him at Comparacon. You can't beat the guy. He is founder of Commonwealth Paranormal, a team of experienced and dedicated paranormal investigators who use various types of equipment and scientific methods to document paranormal activity at alleged haunting locations. They've investigated some of the most haunted and prestigious places in America, including Waverly Hills, the historic Low Hotel, Boone Tavern, Griffin Gate Mansion, Mullins Log Cabin, and the Coal Miners Museum, where we were at yesterday. Yeah. Welcome, Joe Clark.
Hey, guys.
How you doing, Joe?
How are you?
Doing great, sir. Good to have you. And also, Tom, I wanted to mention, and pardon me, Joe, just for a second, we'll also be in Knoxville, Tennessee this coming weekend. That's going to be on Friday and Saturday at the Shock Paracorps. That's going to be Friday and Saturday. We'll be there. We'll also be broadcasting live from Knoxville. So just wanted to mention that for the ParaX listeners out there. We will be sending you the stuff as we get it. So we'll be at Shock. Anyway, welcome, Joe.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Joe, it was a great event yesterday, man. We appreciate you help putting that on. Everything went smooth as silk.
Yeah, I thought it was a fantastic event. Things went really well, and we made some money for the museum, and that was what it was all about.
That's what it was all about.
That is correct. And I also want to, this is a programming note, folks, if I can. Debbie Morgaine, who was going to be on with us tonight, fell ill. And as we were calling her, she is ill tonight. We'll reschedule at a later date, so we apologize for that. But what we're going to be doing, we're going to be talking to Joe tonight about Commonwealth Paranormal, which is always a fun topic because he does such excellent work at Commonwealth Paranormal, and they do terrific investigations, very ethical group, do a lot of great works for the paranormal and also for the historic folks in terms of just exactly what we did yesterday. And also tonight, we want to get you involved. Throughout the show tonight, we're going to throw this open for a panel discussion. Whatever you want to talk about from the paranormal side of things, if you've got a question, comment, whatever it happens to be, we'd love for you, please, to send us questions about the paranormal if you'd like. If you'd like to make a comment, of course, 248-353-7685. You can call in any time. Also, on the instant feedback form, you can send a question if you like. We'll get it immediately. That's on the Psychic Radio website at psychiconair.com. Or you can come into the live chat and type it there. If you want, just private chat the question to Tom if you like, or put it out there in open chat, and we will take care of it. But, Joe, we're always thrilled whenever we get an opportunity to work with you because you do such a tremendous job. One of the most ethical guys I've been across in a long, long time. And in terms of his dedication to the paranormal and the research thereof, Joe, there's none better, sir.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the compliments, and I feel the same way about you guys.
Well, thank you very much.
As I said yesterday during my presentation, you two are two of my heroes in the paranormal field.
Well, thank you. I don't know if we deserve that or not, but thank you. We appreciate it. But we had a great time. We got about a couple of minutes before we go to break here, and we'll be coming back with some of the stuff that we've that you found actually at the Coal Miners Museum. You've been there several times, obviously, and done investigations there, and we've got some of that tonight. We're going to be playing for folks and by way of EVP that you picked up, so we'll talk about that as well. But one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, Joe, is actually a question in about a couple of minutes is what happened to get you involved in the paranormal to begin with?
Okay. Actually, I had my first paranormal experience back in 1994. I'm a licensed funeral director and embalmer. I'm no longer in that business, but at this time I was working at a funeral home in eastern Kentucky. The funeral home was in an old house at that time. It had been converted to a funeral home. And I was sitting there alone one day, nobody in the building but me. And I picked up the telephone and called my mom back in Moorhead. And I had just said hello. And I heard the front door of the funeral home open. And I heard footsteps actually come inside the building. And I heard what sounded to be two female voices. So I told Mom, I said, Mom, I'll just call you back. I said, somebody's come in. So I hang up the phone, and I walk around my desk out into the foyer of the funeral home, and there was nobody there.
Woo. So, can you hang on to that thought, Joe? We got to go to break. I apologize, but that's a good teaser for everybody.
Yes.
Now, this is in a funeral home, and stuff's happening, so don't go away after the break. This is the KAPS Paranormal Radio Show on Psychic Radio, powered by CBS.
Psychic Radio.
Powered by CBS Radio. Now heard globally in Detroit, Boston, on AOL and Yahoo Radio.
We know you're listening.
Psychic Radio.
Call now. 248-353-SOUL. Para X KAPS with Dave and Tommy Jones. On Psychic Radio. PsychicOnAir.com.
We know you're listening.
And welcome back to KAPS Paranormal Radio on Psychic Radio, powered by CBS, AOL, and Yahoo. And Joe, I have got a quick question for you, man.
Okay.
When you first started to be a paranormal investigator, did you ever thought that you would one day be on CBS, AOL, Yahoo, and be heard in Detroit, Boston, and Seattle?
No, I certainly did not.
I just throw that curve into you.
Yeah, anyway, but we want to pick up on a story that Joe started back with when he got into the paranormal for the first time, and you were in a funeral home, and what happened?
Right. As I said, I was on the phone. I called my mom, and I just said hello to her, and I heard the front door of the funeral home open. I heard footsteps inside the building, and I heard what sounded to be two female voices. So I told Mom I would call her back, and I hung up the phone, and I walked around my desk out into the foyer of the funeral home, and there was nobody there. So the building was laid out in sort of in a big circle, so I made the circle. I go into every room of the funeral home. There's not a soul in that building but me.
Wow.
I even walked out on the sidewalk and looked up and down the street. There's nobody even remotely close to the building. So that was really my first paranormal experience, and really what got me really interested in investigations. Go ahead.
No, did you ever investigate the place professionally? I mean,
I never did. Back at that time, it was back before paranormal was a popular thing. But I didn't do any investigations there. But that really prompted my interest, I guess you could say, in the paranormal.
Sure.
After that, me and some friends would get together maybe 2 or 3 times a year. We would go out to alleged haunted places, and we didn't have any equipment at the time, of course, just our eyesight, and we'd occasionally take a camera with us and try to get something, but that was the extent of our investigations. And I really didn't get serious about it up until about 2006, and then I started trying to get a group together then.
Sure, yeah. But you've done well because, as we've seen already, some of the investigations that you've done have been tremendous. And also the fact of doing what you did at the Coal Miners Museum yesterday, which I thought was a great thing that you did. It was great for the community. We love the museum, by the way. And if folks, you ever get an opportunity to be in Van Leer, Kentucky, it takes a little while to find it. But now for you music folks, country music folks, you'll know exactly where it is. It's heading up toward Butcher Holler. And if you know country music, you know where Butcher Holler is. That is Loretta Lynn's birthplace. So if you get an opportunity to go, all you have to do is get to Van Leer, Kentucky, follow the signs to Loretta Lynn's birthplace.
That's how I found it.
That's right. And as soon as you turn off Highway 302, I believe it is, you're right there. So just look for it. It's really an interesting place because you get an opportunity to see some of the instruments that were used during the time of coal mining, which it's gotten quite sophisticated now. But back during the time, it was dangerous, just a lot of hard labor and hard work. And the folks that were dedicated to doing that were really very courageous because it was a dangerous field. It's gotten a lot better now, but you get a chance to see all that. But more importantly, in terms of the paranormal, it's a haunted place, isn't it, Joe?
It's very haunted. You know, I've investigated a lot of places, and by far, it is the most active place that I've ever investigated. I have never been in that building where I have not experienced something. It doesn't matter if it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon or if it's, midnight or 3 a.m., there's always something going on there. An example of that yesterday, we did, Tina was given a tour. It was the last tour of the day, and I took the tour even though I'd been there several times. Mm-hmm. And a lady that was on the tour, she was not a paranormal investigator at all, she captured 3 EVPs in that short amount of time.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah, they left the museum. They lived in Grayson, Kentucky, and they started back home. They got 20 miles up the road, decided to start playing back the recorder to see if they had anything, and they found those, and they turned around and drove all the way back to the museum just to let me and others listen to them to make sure they were EVPs.
Yeah.
And I listened to them, and I said, yeah, that's definitely EVPs, but 2 opinions are always better than one, so I had Chad McKenzie of the group KPI out of Ashland, Kentucky. He was there, and I had him listen to them as well, and he also agreed that they were EVPs.
Joe, let me ask you a quick question. Why do you think that the place is haunted?
Good question. Really, I don't know. My personal opinion, I think there's a portal there of some sort. Because every time we go, it seems like we make contact with a different spirit. Our first 2 investigations there were like a week apart. And both times we asked the question, how many of you are here? And we got the response 4. But it seems to be a different 4 every time. Yesterday, in the past, we have picked up names such as Kate, Jason, Sally, several children. Then yesterday, Sally was back. We communicated with her, and then we got a Mary and maybe some others. So it seems like it's different spirits each time. So that kind of makes me think that there may be a portal there.
You know what? It's very possible. It's very possible because when we first got there and looked at it, of course, it's a museum, and it used to be several other things. It used to be the post office there in Van Leer, as I understand it.
Right.
And also some corporate offices. So, as far as anybody dying there or getting, leaving this life there or murdered there or whatever, it's not something like that. But it does seem to be.
Actually, there's 4 people that have died there.
Oh, no kidding.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Right. See, it used to be the offices for Consolidated Coal. Well, and Van Leer was a coal town, and so the whole town was basically owned by Consolidated Coal, and therefore they had everything in that one building. The doctors was there, the dentist was there. So, it's a known fact 4 people have died in the building. But my thought is, how many more have died there? Guys that have gotten injured in the mines, that's where they were brought at the time. How many more have died there, that we don't know about?
Are there any names that you know of the 4 that passed away there?
The only one I can remember right off is a guy by the name of Elmo Burke. And his death is fairly recent. It was back in the mid-'80s after the museum purchased the building. He was upstairs in what is called the model room, working on that model of Van Leer, and had a heart attack and passed away right there.
Really? Okay. That would explain a lot then. Of course, as you mentioned, Elmo was preeminent in some of the evidence that you got yesterday.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So
and
that's one of the four that I know of, and there's three more. Their names slips me at the moment, but there was at least three more.
And I've got a question for chat for Joe Clark. How many people do you have in your group? And because this person is looking for a group to join.
Okay, right now we have three. We had at one time we had as many as 14, and we had several leave to go off and do their own thing, and so now there's just three of us. And we're always looking for members. They can drop me an email, and I'll get back in touch with them. They can just go to my website. It's Commonwealth-paranormal.net. They can email me from there, and I'll get back in touch with them.
Very good. And also, I want to mention to folks, too, is that you do make house calls, Joe. I've always wanted to say that.
That's a good slogan right there. That should be on the back of a T-shirt. We make house calls.
We still make haunted house calls. But no, seriously, you do, because you do go pretty much at a moment's notice if you get the chance.
Exactly.
To go investigate.
It hasn't been too long ago, actually. We did an investigation just outside of Monticello, Kentucky, and I had like a 2-hour notice on it. The guy that was with my group at the time called me and said, hey, we got an emergency investigation between Somerset and Monticello. We need you there. And I said, okay. So I grabbed my equipment and headed that way. Sometimes you'd like to have a little bit more of a notice than that, but sometimes you don't.
Well, that's true. That's true. But the fact that you're willing to go is worth something. And so that's great. But another thing we're going to do, folks, I'll throw this in. We got about a couple minutes before we got to go to break. When we come back, we're going to be playing some of the EVP that was picked up at the Coal Miners Museum as of yesterday. Joe was very gracious in sending those to us. So we'll play those for you, and we want to tell you to go ahead and get your earphones if you need them, or earplugs, or turn your volume up when we get ready to go with that, because these are really good, and they are direct responses, which is always good. And so we got about a minute, Tom.
I've got to give a very quick shout-out to our international listeners, United Kingdom, Norway, Australia, and Finland.
Welcome to you folks. We're glad to have you, and we're glad that the world has become smaller, Tom, due to the Internet. And we appreciate our international listeners very, very much. I also want to throw out another shout-out to Chris Dedman's in the chat room with us tonight listening, and we appreciate Chris. Chris did a great job yesterday with his presentation, and he'll be a guest of ours, Tom, in a couple of weeks.
August 2nd, I believe, at the 9:30 hour, so yes.
There we go.
It'll be a great show.
That's right. So you remember that? Those of you who are fans of Chris Dedman, all 5 of you. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Chris is a terrific guy. Got a lot of folks that he contacts and talks to on his tours and his conferences and his books and all those things. So Chris is a heck of a guy. We appreciate you, Chris, and glad to have you along with us. So that'll be coming up very, very quickly. And we'll be going to break right now. We'll be right back, and we're going to share some of the creepy evidence that was captured at the Coal Miners Museum in Van Leer, Kentucky. This is the KAPS Paranormal Radio Show on Psychic Radio, powered by CBS.
If you're tired of fumbling in the dark with a flashlight to read your EMF meter, then the folks at Professional Measurement have the solution for you. Introducing the Mel Meter. The Mel 8704 is a precision-made scientific instrument designed especially for the paranormal investigator and enthusiast. This is the only meter that can read both EMF and temperature changes at the same time. An easy-to-read backlight display allows you to monitor and record changes in real time with one hand. And check out the new Pro Navigator with night vision compatible red light source and 30 feet of illumination range. This is the tool you've been waiting for. The Mel Meter. Available now at promeasurement.com or by calling 1-888-344-0111. Professional Measurement, your one-stop source for industrial and commercial-grade precision EMF meters and instruments.
Exploring the unknown and the known. Para X KAPS with Dave and Tommy Jones. Call now 248-353-SOUL. We know you're listening. On Psychic Radio. PsychicOnAir.com.
And welcome back to KAPS Paranormal Radio on Psychic Radio, powered by CBS, AOL, and Yahoo. And Joe, welcome back, and I think you've got a shout-out to Tina.
Yeah, Tina just emailed me. Tina Webb, director of the Coal Miners Museum, said she's listening. So, hello, Tina. Thanks for listening to the show.
Yes, Tina, and she was extraordinarily gracious. We appreciate her so much. Until the time, Tina, and you'll know what I'm talking about, I went down into Icky's store that's right below the museum, and she handed me the phone and said somebody needed directions to get to the museum. And I have never had any more... She'll know what I'm talking about because she was shaking her head too. So Tina, thanks a lot for that one. But
I couldn't get you back there right now. No, it's easy to find. It's
easy to find. Yeah. It's really easy to find. But this particular person was having difficulties writing down the instructions. I'll leave it that way. So anyway, but Joe, we're glad to have you back, sir. And of course, we also want to do this, folks, during the time that we're going to be with you tonight. If you have any particular question you'd like to ask, as it pertains to the paranormal field, please, you are more than welcome to call 248-353-7685. It's 248-353-SOUL. We will hash your question back and forth. Also, you can use instant feedback on Psychic On Air's website. If you want to do that, psychiconair.com, go to that. Use instant feedback. We'll get it immediately. Or the chat room. If you'd like to put a question in chat, we will certainly get to it as soon as possible. So, there we go. And one of the things, too, we've got here, Joe, we're going to be playing some of these throughout the night. Okay. You've got some tremendous EVP from the Coal Miners Museum last night.
Yes, we did. Surprisingly, I didn't think we had that much. And when I got home today and started reviewing some, I was like, oh, wow, I did get a lot.
I mean, and also, again, we were mentioning rain. It was lightning and thundering, all that last night. So that makes a good weather conditions for paranormal activity, in my opinion.
Right.
You couldn't ask for any better.
Oh, I agree. It was. I think the weather definitely contributed to it.
How many did you all get total last night, Joe EVP? I mean, I know you emailed it to us.
Right.
About
I haven't checked with anybody else. I ended up with like 12 for my
wow.
side. Maybe 10. 10, I think it was 10 for my side.
Now, how long did you all investigate for this morning?
We started, gosh, I don't know what time it was. We actually started investigating. We wrapped up at, I think it was like 1:15. We were all just exhausted from the day, and so we headed out about 1:15.
Cool. Now, we've got to ask you this, Joe. I mean, in your bio, I read you investigated a lot of places. In your opinion, in Kentucky, what is the most haunted place?
Definitely the Coal Miners Museum.
Okay.
No kidding.
I mean, Waverly, everybody talks about Waverly, and Waverly is very active. I love Waverly, but I have had much more activity at the Coal Miners Museum than the time I was at Waverly.
That's an interesting statement. That's a very powerful statement in the fact that there's more activity there because, again, folks, you need to go to the museum because it is a fun place to be. The folks will really treat you well there. Tina and company do a marvelous job. And not only that, just the historic significance of it is remarkable. But the fact that it's got so much paranormal activity, it almost has to be something like that, Joe. Maybe a portal or something happening right there. Yeah, because it's just odd that so much. And when I mean odd, I'm saying if you notice the background of the place. Of course, obviously it's historic. A lot of activity in terms of the physical nature happened there, post office, etc. But if you were to list the top 10 places you think would be haunted, the Coal Miners Museum would not be one of them, just basically because of what it used to be.
Right.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, and I think someone mentioned this yesterday, Joe, that it's sitting over top of a graveyard or something. Someone mentioned that.
Right. I was using the dowsing rod last night, and using the dowsing rods, the spirit of Sally, that's who she identified herself to be, said she was buried under the building, which I thought was quite interesting.
Yeah.
And she actually, I said, well, using the dowsing rod, show me where you're buried. And she took me to a place there in the room where we were actually had the conference yesterday. and they crossed. The rods crossed right there in one little spot there. Now, whether she's actually buried there or not, who knows? Another interesting thing that I did not know until yesterday, and Tina pointed it out, is the building also is built on a lot of limestone.
There you go. There you go.
That will, no doubt will contribute to the activity as well.
That is true. And for those who are researchers, you know this, is water, limestone, any kind of an iron ore type thing that happens to be around is evidently nature's way of doing recording. So you get a lot of residuals that way. So, that would explain a lot, Joe.
Right. The only thing is we haven't gotten a lot of residual there. Everything that we have gotten, or the most of it anyway, seems to be intelligent.
Wow.
That is amazing. That is amazing. Want to mention one thing, a programming note, folks, for those that are listening. If you aren't listening, I hope a friend will get in contact with you. We've got a very special guest coming up at 9:30 while Joe is with us, who's going to be giving away a very special prize for a lucky listener tonight, Tom.
Yeah, she just emailed me and said, call her at 9:30, so I'm not going to tell her no. I'm going to call her at 9:30.
That's right. We're going to call her at 9:30, and we've got a very special guest going to be on and a very special prize for a lucky listener. So remember to write down this number, 248-353-7685. It could come in useful for you.
And Joe knows who it is.
Yes, I do.
Yes, you do, Joe. You do. Yeah. You certainly do. And we'll leave it as a semi-surprise until 9:30, so you got to stick around for that. We got about a minute or so left. We've got a caller on the line. We'll let her come in if you want to, Tom.
Absolutely. I think she's calling the direct line.
Oh, she is?
Because I don't think she has her laptop set up.
Okay, cool. So we'll bring her in after break if that's all right.
That's cool. Yeah, she just private chatted me in chat.
Okay, cool deal. So we will bring her in right after our break here in just a little bit. We got about a minute or so left. Again, what we're going to be doing tonight throughout the show is that we're going to be playing some of the EVP that Joe and company have secured from the Coal Miners Museum as of last night. This is brand new stuff, folks, so you get a chance to listen in on some of the what I consider really good evidence that came from the investigation. Also, if you have a particular question tonight about the paranormal, we want you to let us know what it is. You can chat it to us in the private chat, send it via instant feedback on psychiconair.com, or you can call in at 248-353-7685. We'd love to hear from you, and we will discuss that. So, with that, we appreciate Joe Clark being with us tonight. Joe's going to be with us throughout the entire 3-hour show, which we appreciate that so much. I know he's tired. He had 22 hours invested in what was going on yesterday. So, Joe, you are either going to be more or less intelligent than you normally are since you've had some questions for us. So we'll see all about that. We'll be right back in just a moment. This is the KAPS Paranormal Radio Show on Psychic Radio, powered by CBS.
Para X Caps with Dave and Tommy Jones. 248-353-SOUL. We know you're listening. Psychic Radio.
And welcome back to KAPS Paranormal Radio on Psychic Radio, powered by CBS, AOL, and Yahoo. And welcome back, Joe Clark.
Thank you.
Like a big long pause, Joe Clark. We got a caller, Dave.
Yes, we do. And we'd love to get that caller on the line right now.
Welcome, Angela, to Para X.
Guys, how
KAPS.
are ya?
What's up?
Hi, Angela. How you doing?
Hi, Joe. How are ya? It was great hanging out
I'm doing great. How are you, Angela?
I'm great. So you guys caught some good EVPs last night?
Yes, we did.
Oh, excellent. I can't wait to hear them.
EVPs and caught several things with the ghost box.
Oh, cool. After
of course,
we
you were there for that. We really didn't think we caught that much.
Yeah.
When I came home today and reviewed it, I was like, wow, some of the things we caught were amazing.
Do you think it was not through the box, it was just EVPs that you're catching during the session, or?
No, I think they came through the box.
It actually came through the box? Yeah, I have problems listening. That's why I like to record those. And I tape the same session, so I can even correlate it against yours, too, later on.
Cool.
Yeah.
Indeed. Yeah.
And Angela is from Spirited History show on Para X Radio. Angela, what was your take on the Coal Miners Museum? What was your opinion of it?
Oh, you walk in and you can just feel the history in the place because, everything that's in there. They got all the pictures of the servicemen. They have, the bags that the coal miners, brought the coal out with. They have, the mailboxes are still in there from when it
was cool.
Office. It's just, you can just feel the layers, and you can see that it was such a central focus point of the community, and it was just amazing, And, it amazes me to walk into those kind of buildings and still see them standing and know that, it was here 100 years ago or more, and people were in there doing the same kind of, maybe not the same thing, obviously, but gathering.
Right.
And, it opens your eyes to how amazing life is, really.
Joe, do you know when the building was built?
The building was built in 1913.
1913.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
they need like a 100-year anniversary special there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to be great in 2013.
We could do an event there for the 100th celebration.
That'll be great. Yeah, please keep us in mind. We'd love to be there for it.
Yeah, I just thought of that. We might try to do that.
Very good. And in honor of Angela, we'd like to play one of the EVP for the folks out there, and also Angela, so that she can pick up on this. Is there any particular one that you want to play first, Joe? I've got several here.
Just pick one if you want.
All right. I'll go right down the list if I can. Now, this one is entitled Alan, and it's got some pretty good history behind it.
Yes. Alan is, by the way, Alan is listening tonight. Hello, Alan. Alan is Alan Baldwin from Paintsville Paranormal Society. For some reason last night, the spirit seemed to be attracted to him. We were, again, using the dowsing rods. And the reason we were using the dowsing rods so much, at first we were not getting anything as far as recordings or any other type of evidence. So when all else fails, if something don't work, you try something else. And so the dowsing rods seemed to be what got it going last night. But anyway, the first spirit that we contacted was the female, Sally, there in the dining room, and she, using the dowsing rods, said that she thought Alan was cute and that he reminded her of her son.
Really?
And, yeah. And then later on, we made contact with a gentleman, Elmo, as a matter of fact, out in the hall, and we asked, after a few questions, is there anybody here in the group that you'd like to talk to? And he, too, said he'd like to talk to Alan. And so I just gave Alan the dowsing rods, and unfortunately, I don't know what happened when I gave him the dowsing rods. He said he didn't have any results at all with them. But anyway, not long after he tried the dowsing, Tina had mentioned, was talking to Alan, and she called his name, and I went by, and just so happened my digital recorder was still working. I was still recording, rather. And so today when I went back, or last night I went back and listened to it, as soon as Tina says Alan, a few seconds later you hear this spirit say the exact same thing, only more in a whispery voice.
Interesting. Yeah, as I mentioned, these are really good because they are direct responses, which are always a lot of fun because you know that they're directly speaking back to something you said or done. So what I'm going to do, folks, I'm going to play this a couple of times for you. And Joe set it up for us quite well. So if you listen very closely, if you do happen to have any earphones that you want to put on, if you're listening on the computer, by all means, go ahead and do that. Or if you want to turn the volume up or whatever it is to be able to hear this a little bit better, I'll play through it twice so that you can hear it. Now, again, Joe's already set it up as to what it's going to be saying. So listen very carefully. Very interesting. You can hear that.
Yes, you can.
I actually sent it to you again, only I took out Tina's voice, and you guys, all you hear is the spirit saying Alan.
Okay, we'll play that one right now. This is entitled Alan 2, is that correct?
Yeah.
All right, this is just the Alan portion. This is from the spirit. So, folks, hang on to your hats. I'll play this a couple of times for you. A little quick, one more time.
Yes.
And You can hear Alan. Yeah.
Can you hear that, Angela?
Yeah, I could hear it. And, you know, when I was there during the dowsing session, and it really was, every time they would say, you know, can you point to who you want to talk to? And it would point over to Alan. It wouldn't matter which direction Joe was in. Those dowsing rods would swing right over to Alan. It was very funny. You know, and then I think they were playing practical jokes on him, though, because they kept trying to get him to, you know, go away from the rest of the group. So he'd go stand somewhere and wait for something to happen. Nothing would happen, but it was funny. You know, it was like they were playing with him.
We've got about a minute left, and what we're going to do, of course, we're going to go to break and come right back. Angela, can you stay with us for just a little while?
Yeah, I can stay for a little bit.
Okay, cool. Well, appreciate that, because we're going to be talking about something when we come back. Okay. Dowsing rods. Dowsing rods, are you for 'em or against 'em? I'll put it that way. Do you believe in them? If not, we're going to be discussing that, what you think it is, why it does what it does. Okay. We'll discuss that just a little bit, because it's always fun whenever we see folks use dowsing rods. I've seen them used, and I've been amazed by them. You put them in my hands, and they turn into helicopters. That's all they do. So,
flash water.
I don't know what that means exactly, but probably nothing at all.
And I got to give kudos to Angela and Leanne. They done a great presentation yesterday, by the way.
Aww,
indeed. They did. As always. So, folks, we'll be right back after this break, and we'll be talking about dowsing rods with Joe Clark and also with Angela from Spirited History. This is the KAPS Paranormal Radio Show on Psychic Radio, powered by CBS.
Psychic Radio. 248-353-SOUL. Who you gonna call? Para X KAPS with Dave and Tommy Jones. On the air now on Psychic Radio. PsychicOnAir.com.
And welcome back to KAPS Paranormal Radio on Psychic Radio, powered by CBS, AOL, and Yahoo. And Joe, I've got a chat room question for you.
Okay.
From the infamous Chris Dedman. In your opinion, what is better, analog or digital, and why?
I use both. I don't use analog quite as much as I did. Why, I don't know. I just sort of got away from it. But Brian Harnwell, TAPS, told me one time that he preferred analog simply because he had better results with them. I've gotten EVPs with analog, and I've gotten several with digital. So I guess I use digital because it's a lot easier. You can always put a digital recorder in your pocket. Right. And go on and not have to worry about, a bigger analog recorder.
And then you got the motor noise to deal with if you use a regular tape. And welcome back, Angela, by the way.
Hello, are you with us, Angela?
I'm still here. Can you hear me?
There we go. Okay.
There you go.
Yes, you're doing great. You're doing great.
We're having a little thunderstorm.
Thunderstorm.
Sorry.
And you're in Virginia, correct?
We are in Virginia. We got home probably 10 minutes before your guys' show started.
And you probably got what we got yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's East, which is good. It's already past us, and now you can have it. Sorry about that. Be safe, if you would. One thing we want to talk about, too, in this segment, if we can, and, of course, as we mentioned before, if you have questions about the paranormal, we're going to be fielding those all night long. Please send them in via the instant feedback form on PsychicOnAir.com if you like. Also, you can use private chat or the chat room at the website on Para-X Radio, para-x.com. Just come into the live tab, hit the live tab button, and it'll put you in live chat. You can chat the question to us. Also, we'd love your calls. If you'd like to call in, talk to us, talk to Joe, talk to Tom and I, or all three of us together, we'd love that. 248-353-7685. And also, Tom, I want to mention again for those listening, stay by your radio or your computer or your BlackBerry or your iPod or whatever you're listening on, because we're going to be giving away a very special prize as we approach 9:30. We have a very special guest that's going to be on with us who's going to be giving away to a lucky listener a very special prize. So we'll let you folks think about that as you go along. So here's a question. Well, as a matter of fact, let me give this one if we have, because we've got looks like a couple of them via instant feedback, so we can go through those if you like, Tom.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
All right. This is from Eric in North Carolina in the paranormal field. What do you think the most controversial piece of equipment is used today? Joe?
Good question. That's a tough one. Definitely, I would say maybe the Ovilus would be one.
That would be mine.
Dowsing rods would probably be another one.
I'd have to agree. I'd have to agree. All the ITC devices, I would say, any of them, because I think there's issues with all of them. You know, we've gotten some great results, but I think a lot of people feel that, you know, they're still on the fence about them.
Right. The ghost box will be another one. I mean, we use it, but the way I've always worked with the ghost box is I will never present that as evidence to a client, you know, especially to a resident.
Right.
Because there's always that chance that it could be radio waves.
Yeah.
That's true.
Unless you got direct answers to a specific question, or you get profanity, which is prohibited by the FCC.
Exactly.
Indeed.
So that would be the only way.
Yeah, and I think the reason why they're controversial, and it's a great question, Eric, by the way, and if any other folks have got some thoughts about that, please chat them to us or instant feedback or call us in. It'd be great. Is the fact that we don't know enough about the research as of yet. Right now, it's all experiential stuff that we're getting in terms of the box, and it does take a measure of training of your hearing to be able to pick out some of the stuff as well.
Yes.
And you know, by its very nature, it has to use radio waves, has to use radio frequencies by its very nature. So there is that possibility that you're going to hear something, and I don't want to use the word mistake it for the voice of someone who's passed, but you might integrate what is being said and think that comes from them. So again, by no means we're not throwing off on the technology. It's just controversial because it does take a measure of training, if you will, and I've experienced more than anything else on how to do that.
But then again, you know, even on the Radio Shack hack boxes that even scan the AM, FM frequencies, I've heard vulgar things come out of it. And, you know, like we were talking at break, you know, we're FCC regulated. If we said something like that on the air, Will or Sound Dude would knock us off right quick. So, you know,
that's right.
That's another thing y'all think about.
We deserve it too. And Chris Edmonds in our chat room, and he mentions this is a controversial piece of equipment, and I bet I'll know why. So I'm going to try to interpret for Chris. Thermal imager as a controversial device.
Possibly.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that because there's a lot of reflection issues when you've got a reflective surface. You could be getting your own heat signature. You know.
And David and I found this out. We got a good friend, Dennis Miller, in Alabama. He owns a company that does, you know, the thermal imaging, like for heat escaping from your roof, that type of thing, if you need more insulation. But he was telling us, the thermal imagery he had was pretty far-fetched looking outfit. Yeah. But that a reflection in the window, it would not pick up. And we even tried it, and we couldn't pick a reflection up in the window.
Huh.
That's correct.
But he could aim it at a cloud and tell you what the temperature of the cloud was straight above you. But
that's true. Cool. Now here's my take on it. And Paul Browning and I, Paul from Clarksville Ghost Hunters, another great guy. We were talking about it yesterday. Here's what I think thermal imagers are useful for primarily. Now, not to say that some of the things that are gotten, again, you know, this research that we're doing, folks, it's wide open field. Typically, a thermal imager requires some type of mass. It also requires a thermal change, a temperature change, obviously, for it to work. But one of the things I think folks miss with a thermal imaging camera, and Paul was agreeing with me, as a matter of fact, he echoed the same thing, is that they are more useful probably for debunking than they are proving something. And what I mean by that is that sometimes we see something, and if you fire that thermal at it, and you pick up a certain thing that does have some type of mass to it per se, they may give you a real reason to consider that it might have been something else other than what you thought it was.
That's a good point. And, you know, and again, you know, the thermal imager, you got it in your mindset that it's going to pick up heat, but it also will pick up cool as well. I think even, if I'm not mistaken, it was Jimmy from Ghost Chatter got a picture of an apparition at Waverly on his thermal. And I think it's a little bit cooler than the surrounding area, if I'm not mistaken. Do you remember that one, David?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, you know, again, the research is out there. It's sometimes, and the reason why we say controversial is not to say that it's bad controversial, it's just controversial, period.
Right.
What we do, period, is controversial, folks. You know, weigh that as it is. But there are a lot of questions that need to be answered about all the technologies that we use. But there are one thing that I'm certain of is my personal experiences. Those I'm certain of. And a lot of times those get thrown under the bus basically because of the fact, well, we don't have them on any kind of a a recordable media or some type of scientific instrument per se. But our personal experiences are those things that are, they're us. We get a chance to see them. We get a chance to hear them. We get a chance to experience them. I know for a fact I saw the full-bodied at Waverly. I know that. I know for a fact I got the shirt tug at Waverly. I know that. I got the push in the leg at Fort Mifflin. I know that.
I know that. I was close to you.
Yeah, so these are things that you know. And then when you turn around with a flashlight and go, what the blankety blank is that? And there's nothing there. Kind of tough to mimic that by anything else. So don't throw those away when you have them. Again, they're great when you have them. If you do have to have something on scientific instrumentation, such as maybe an EMF spike, which again, folks, with EMF meters, in my opinion, reporting a spike in EMF is not necessarily a reflection of paranormal activity.
Exactly.
It's a good confirmation, if you will, of something else that's happened. If you go to somebody and say, "Yeah, we had some great EMF spikes," well, okay, that could be by other things, but it is good support evidence for other things that you've gotten, and that's my opinion.
Well, I have to agree with you there because, you can use an EMF detector. You can use it to rule out paranormal activity. We've had cases where, people were having feelings of paranoia and being watched, and they thought it was a spirit, but come to find out they were having leaks from their alarm clock right by their head while they were trying to sleep. Of course you're going to feel paranoid, and, if you're sensitive to EMF, that's going to give you those feelings. So, once we got rid of that, she was fine. She didn't have any more activity, and she knew that it wasn't a ghost. It was just electricity.
Yes, and one of our listeners in the chat room said something that Tom and I have, our spookometer. And,
I was talking about that in my presentation a little bit.
Yeah, so the spookometer they said the spookometer was being used last night, too. And, yes, the spookometer matters, folks. Something's happening when the hair stands up on the back of your neck and your arm, and you just feel weird. Something typically is getting ready to happen, particularly if you're experienced at what you do. Now, if you go into a situation where you've been a very experienced investigator, a lot of the pre-investigative jitters, fear, terror, dread fall off. Would you agree with that, Joe?
Yeah, I agree. And an example that was last night at the Everything Museum, we had concluded the ghost box session, and some of the investigators were going to leave and go home. So we followed them down, and I took most of my equipment. And I got downstairs and realized that I'd left some things up there, so I went back up alone and to get my equipment. And as soon as I walked into that room, every hair on my neck and arms just stood up. I didn't feel threatened or anything, but I could just sense somebody there with me.
Mm-hmm. And, we should never discount the senses. We got about 30 seconds left, folks. I love this kind of discussion. I'm sorry we shot right past dowsing rods. So when we come back to the break, we're going to be talking about dowsing rods. I swear to God. We'll talk about dowsing rods. And also a great comment from Tina we'll give as well. This is the KAPS Paranormal Radio Show on Psychic Radio, powered by CBS.
Psychic Radio.
Powered by CBS Radio. Now heard globally in Detroit, Boston, on AOL and Yahoo Radio.
We know you're listening. We know you're listening. Talk about telekinetic activity on Psychic Radio. Now back to ParaX KAPS with Dave and Tommy Jones. Call now 248-353-SOUL. Psychic Radio. PsychicOnAir.com. Believe.
And welcome back to KAPS Paranormal Radio on Psychic Radio, powered by CBS, AOL, and Yahoo. And yes, Tina is in the chat room, David, from the Van Leer Coal Miners Museum.
Indeed, and welcome, Tina. We're glad to have you, and welcome to ParaX Radio Network, and also welcome to Psychic Radio. We're glad to see you on the chat room so we can talk to you about a tremendous place, Coal Miners Museum at Van Leer, Kentucky. Visit if you can. Folks, it's a lot of fun. If you're a paranormal investigator, what do they have to do about that, Joe? Let's say that they are paranormal investigators that want to come to the Coal Miners Museum. What do they have to do?
Okay, they can give Tina a call. Her number there at the office is 606-789-8540, and she'll be glad to set it up. There is a fee for it. It's $250 for up to 8 people, and that's for 5 hours. But all that money goes right back into the museum to help keep with the upkeep and all that.
That's great.
Yes, it is. And folks, it goes to a great cause. They've got a lot of great stuff in the Coal Miners Museum. And as I understand it, it's self-supporting, is it not, Joe?
Yes, that's the only funding they get is through the fundraisers that they do, tours, the paranormal investigations, and that type of thing. Other than that, they get no grants, no assistance from anybody.
Indeed. And again, folks, this is a great time for paranormal folks to show off, and we appreciate so much because they do put a lot back into the communities that they are a part of.
And I got a chat room question for Joe. This is from our good friend Tom. There are too many Toms in the chat room. They're everywhere. Good friend from Buffalo, New York. Question for Joe. Have you experimented with the Singapore theory, and has it simulated any activity in a haunted location?
About the closest thing I've done to that, as far as that goes, is we did Waverly. We put a ball out for Timmy, and Chris can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think the ball was even touched that night.
Okay. A lot of groups, play like the big band music if it's a haunted location during that time area, try to get the spirits moving, I guess.
Right.
But David and I have never tried that either.
No, we haven't. We haven't. And that's
but I've just never tried it.
Yeah, it is. And Barry Fitzgerald took it to the next level. When we talk about the Singapore theory, folks, what we're talking about is doing any kind of a trigger to try to get responses. And that would be anything from putting a physical object there where they could identify with it, or in a lot of cases playing, as Barry Fitzgerald does, period music. He'll play music from that period from where the apparition could identify with, and a way of trying to invoke feelings, responses, etc. So that's what the Singapore theory is. We haven't done that. I think the only thing that Tom and I have done, we did put a ball, a tennis ball at Waverly, and I promptly stepped in the middle of it and almost broke my back.
We've got that on video, by the way, Joe. I'll show you that one. That's fun.
And for all you other listeners, 1995, postage and handling extra, and you can have a picture of me stepping in the middle of a tennis ball that I put there myself not a minute before I stepped in the middle of it. So,
and the thing about it, you got our camera showing the ball, and it looks on video, well, she's surely not going to walk on this ball because, it's real lit. Well, people don't think, it's very dark in that place. Just our illuminator making it look bright. So there he goes.
Yeah.
It's like he was on ice, but.
I've never had experiences like that.
Oh, I think so, too.
I've got this one in here. The one, people ask us a lot if Dave and I ever get, quote, scared. We don't get really scared. We get startled, I guess.
Yeah.
Last time we was at Waverly Experience 2008. Good friends of ours from Augusta, Georgia. Aaron from Augusta Paranormal was investigating the second floor of Waverly. So Gil and Aaron brought a trigger object. The trigger object they used was a big silver helium balloon. Had it tied down with a weight. So here Dave and I come walking down the hall, rounded the corner, and come face to face with this big silvery looking object right in front of us. You talk about startled.
Yeah. Something you're not expecting. And you're going to later on, hopefully. One thing we want to do before we want to play some more EVP that you picked up, and we're going to play this one, and we're going to talk about dowsing rods. I promised we would, so we're going to do that.
Okay.
This one is entitled Just Me.
Okay, yeah.
And what's involved in this one, Joe?
Okay, this was during the Ghost Box session that we did, and I asked the spirit, I said, can you tell me your name? And it said, to me, it sounded like it was saying just me. It could possibly also be it's me. We'll let the listeners decide there.
All right, so we're going to play this twice, folks, if you can. So I just wanted to alert you, so if you want to turn your volume up a little bit or get your headphones, whatever you like. This is from a Ghost Box session at the Coal Miners Museum last night, fresh from the Paranormal Bakery.
Can you tell me your name? Can you tell me your name?
Yeah, I hear it say just me. Very, very plainly. So, and again, that's one of those things with the Ghost Box. That is a direct response to a question you ask. Had you said that, and asked that question, they came back and said, Chef Boyardee, you kind of, well, wait a minute, but just me. and you get responses like that from the box. The box is a terrific tool. We love it. We use it a lot. Again, you have to be somewhat practiced at what you do so that you know what you're getting in return, so that you can, there will be a lot of things that come through it that don't have a lot to do with what you're doing. So,
right.
Anyway, good stuff.
And I've got through the instant feedback that Tina sent. I want to thank you, too, for doing this for the museum. And another one that had died in the building was Dan Short. He died in front of the post office boxes. His wife was postmaster at the time. So he passed away right where we were sitting yesterday.
Whoa. Okay.
we were right in front of the post office boxes.
Yeah, that's right, we were. So, to Dan, if you're listening out there, just send us an EVP on the show tonight and just say hi. We didn't mean to be sitting on you, but that's where we were placed, so it wasn't their fault. One thing, we mentioned this, we want to talk about dowsing rods. You've just picked up the practice, evidently, Joe. What do you think of them?
Well, I had recently just bought a set. I had seen other investigators use them in the past, and knowing the investigators that I had saw, I knew they were, they didn't manipulate the rods. So, I believe they worked, but my theory has always been dowsing rods are good supportive evidence and really nothing else, because if you don't have any scientific evidence, such as an EVP or a video, to back up your claims, you really don't have anything.
Agreed. Go ahead, I'm sorry, sir.
Okay. I bought this set, actually for another purpose. A friend of mine told me she used them to locate unmarked graves with them. Mm-hmm. And I bought a set for that reason. We have several unmarked graves in our family cemetery, and that's why I bought them. And but while I got them, I thought, let's go ahead and try them with investigations and see what happens. And I've used them on 2 investigations, and to this point.
Indeed.
Now, would I present that as evidence to a client? No.
Okay.
Now, not unless I had, like I said, some other evidence to back it up. One thing I do want to mention about our use of them last night, we were in the dining room with the spirit who identified herself as Sally. After a few questions, she actually started responding not only with the dowsing rods, but also through the K2 meter. It was lighting up at times like a Christmas tree, and I think Angela and maybe some of the others had got that on video.
Wow. Okay. Now, and that's going to follow up on what I think is my theory behind dowsing rods in just a moment. I want to mention to Chad. Chad asked a question back up the line. Chad McKenzie. He asked about the attic. I don't think they went into the attic last night, Chad, so they didn't pick up anything, obviously, from the attic. But good question, Chad. Mentioned that. We appreciate you being on the listening into this tonight, Chad. One of the things I think about, because you used it for finding unmarked graves, I used to use them as a surveyor to find water conduits for pretty much the same. Yeah, because once they would cross, it would tell you you're standing over something that's conveying water.
Right. I actually did that once as a teenager too. That was my only experience with dowsing. We built when we were a teen. My dad built a new house, and we used dowsing to find water, to dig the well.
Sure. Exactly.
At the time, we lived out in the country, and at that time we didn't have the city water, and we had to dig a well, and we used dowsing to find water. And that's where we dug the well.
So that leads me to this, and again, when I say this, folks, I'm not putting any dispersions toward dowsing rods. I promise I'm not. But I consider them to be somewhat of a rudimentary EMF meter, in that you're getting some of the same responses that you would get with an EMF meter in terms of what used to manipulate them, such as underground water, underground metal. Even electric lines will cause them to spread apart. If you walk under a power line, you can watch them spread apart. So I don't know if that's my own pet theory about it, but that's not to diminish them, because obviously apparitions use them to convey a message. And you can tell us about what happened with that last night if you want to, Joe.
Well, like I said, we used them several times last night. Once the spirit who was named Sally, she said that she would show herself to Alan, and I asked her, I said, well, point in the direction that you will show yourself. she pointed back into the kitchen, which was behind the curtain where we were yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And so we sent Alan back there, but unfortunately he didn't see anything, unless he caught something on video. I haven't asked him yet. But as far as we know, we didn't get anything.
One of the most remarkable things on the dowsing rods, David and I saw, it was at the old Paris TB hospital. There was probably about 30 of us in there that night. It was during the Waverly Experience 2008. One of the girls that were with us there did not know Brian and Anna Marie from Ghostology. Brian and Anna Marie was there. The question was asked, where is Anna Marie at? And the dowsing rods pointed directly at Anna Marie, and this girl did not know who Anna Marie was.
That is true. That is
true.
true.
That was very remarkable.
Yeah, and also something else remarkable. Indeed, and something else remarkable, too. Tom and I did a private residence where someone who was adept at using dowsing rods was there. A lot of questions were asked. We knew nothing other than just we did some research on the house, naturally, but a lot of photographs were on the wall from different periods throughout this family history, and we had no clue who these folks were. And the person handling the dowsing rods didn't either. And so when the owner of the house said, show me Aunt whoever or Uncle so-and-so, the dowsing rods would move and point in the direction of the photograph. And he said that's exactly who that is. So there is something to it. I'm not sure exactly what. There's a manipulation involved with it somehow by apparitions, spirits, whatever, to try to bring out some type of a communication with us. We got to take a break, folks, and we'll be right back in just a moment. And we've got a very special visitor that's going to be back in with us as we come back from break. And you're going to get a chance to win a very special prize. So remember this number, 248-353-7685. You're going to want it. This is the KAPS Paranormal Radio Show on Psychic Radio, powered by CBS.
Psychic Radio.
Call now, 248-353-SOUL. Para X KAPS with Dave and Tommy Jones on Psychic Radio. PsychicOnAir.com.
We know you're listening.
And welcome back to KAPS Paranormal Radio on Psychic Radio, powered by CBS, AOL, and Yahoo. And Dave, the special guest, is online.
All right. Something we've been looking forward to all night long. Joe has been a terrific guest. We appreciate Joe Clark from Commonwealth Paranormal, who's with us, and we got him back. And we have a very special guest tonight who has a very special gift to our listeners tonight. So, as I mentioned, you want to remember this number. It's 248-353-7685. We will explain why that is in just a moment. But first, we'd like to introduce the lovely and talented and paranormal experienced lady that she is, Kristen Garland. Kristen, welcome.
Hi, you guys.
It is great to have you on tonight. We appreciate you so much.
Oh, I appreciate you more.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Kristen, of course, is with the Ghost Hunters and a terrific paranormal researcher. Lovely lady. We got an opportunity to meet her several times, and she's a doll, folks. I'm going to tell you right now, she is an absolute doll. And she has something very special that she wants to talk about tonight. It is an event that you've got coming up, Kristen.
That's right. August 1st, actually, at the U.S. Hotel in Hollidaysburg, Pennsylvania. It's actually a pretty cool place. It was an operational hotel at one point. They also had, they used the cellar, and they had built tunnels all through it for the Underground Railroad. John Wayne supposedly had been in and had a couple of drinks at the bar. There's actually been some murders, some suicides. There's a lot of death hanging around this place.
Wow.
But it's really cool, though. It almost looks like, in the late 50s that people just stopped. It's still got the bedspreads and, the mirrors are all still up. It's really kind of creepy looking.
Wow.
That's going to be really fun.
It's going to be great, it sounds like. And, of course, having you there is going to make it very, very special. Kristen Garland, of course.
Oh, sure.
Well, it is, sure. I mean, it'd be a nice place. I'm not downgrading the place by any means. But, Kristen Garland's going to make it very special. Also having an event there that tonight, and we appreciate this so much, a lucky listener is going to get an opportunity to win a ticket tonight. And this is a $195 value, folks. You're going to get a chance to win this ticket. Kristen Garland was very gracious tonight to offer this prize to a lucky listener. If you call 248-353-7685, if you are the 11th caller, if you're caller number 11 at 248-353-7685, you will be the winner of a ticket to this very special event with Kristen Garland?
Oh, not just me. It's going to be John Zaffis, Adam Bly, and Chip Coffey.
Very good.
It's going to be an awesome, awesome event. We're excited. It's basically what they're going to get when they win the ticket is there'll be a meet and greet. Then there'll be a full buffet dinner and some lectures. I'm going to do my Paranormal 101. John and Adam are going to talk about demonology. Then we're going to do, Chip will be on hand for questions. He's actually going to kind of go through and investigate with us as well. And then there'll be a full-fledged investigation from 10 o'clock till 2 a.m. And
Wonderful.
we'll have some snacks out and drinks and whatnot, so.
That's going to be great. And by the way, folks, this is thrown open to everybody, too, as a matter of fact. Even the show host tonight, if you'd like to call in for this, you can win this as well. So we're going to throw this open to everybody on Para-X. So, again, 248-353-7685, 11th caller. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. It's a place that, no one's really done. Actually, I was talking to Zaffis the other day, and he said, is this the place where the hotel's upstairs and there's, a bar and restaurant downstairs? And I said, yeah. And he said, oh, my God, I was there years ago, and I had an experience when I was there years ago. So that was really cool that he had already been there and had some experiences. So, that it's definitely got some activity if Zaffis says it does, so.
That is true.
And I just put your link to your website in the chat room, by the way, Kristen, so they'll know how to go and look at the event.
Indeed.
Sure, it's anomalyparanormal.com.
Yes.
ANOMALIE.
All right. ANOMALIE paranormal.com. Please visit there and see some of the great stuff. And also you have on there, or will be having there, I haven't visited in a couple of weeks, so I apologize, your para bag.
Yeah. Those are awesome.
Those are awesome.
You want to describe that to the folks? You're more than welcome. Tell them what that's about.
Absolutely. A friend of mine and I, Brian, who's also a TAPS member, we're just kind of hanging out after one of my Paranormal 101 classes, and, we were talking about how it's just so difficult to carry all the equipment around. Not only when you go to a case, but then when you're on it, you're sticking an EMF meter in your back pocket, a thermometer in your front pocket, then a recorder, and then, a notebook maybe and some pens and pencils, and you just don't have enough pockets to carry around with you. So we came up with a phenomenal bag to not only bring your equipment to an investigation, but then there's a smaller bag on the inside that comes out, and that can carry, your little equipment, your K2, your EMF. It fits everything. So it's really kind of a special bag. We're excited.
We got to see them at Fort Mifflin, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Yes. I did too. And it really was.
Yeah, it's a fun bag. It's not something that anybody's done. So it's kind of, why no one's done it, we have no idea. We're just glad that we were like, all right, that's it enough. It's time to just make a bag.
Exactly. So Dave and I have investigated Waverly and get up on the 5th floor and go, I forgot something. Have to go all the way down to the conference area, go all the way back up. This way you can put everything in your backpack and you're ready to go.
That's right.
That's correct. Yep. And if you see me, I'm funny looking when
yes,
I'm out.
He is. No,
I stuffed stuff. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Coming from Kristen, I really appreciate that, Tom. But anyway, I stuffed stuff down in my pockets, in my back pocket, front pockets. I've got stuff hanging off of me everywhere. And it's not very easy to get to it. And as Tom mentioned, it's invariable that you'll go somewhere and say, gosh, I wish I brought my temperature gauge, or gosh, I wish I brought my mail meter, or gosh, I wish I brought this, and left it somewhere. Whereas the para bag allows you to take everything that you find necessary on an investigation, have it right with you. And for you guys out there, let me say this. It is a pack that is, this is going to be one of those metro kind of statements. It's unisex. It is. Yeah, it is. It doesn't have just flowers and blooms and all those things. It's really something that anybody, male or female, can use, and you can feel comfortable in your sexuality. So how's that?
Our good friend Dawn from NKPI in the chat room says, I want the new pack she is working on. So when will they be available, Kristen?
Probably. What we're going to do is we're going to take pre-orders for them because they are shipping from overseas. So we are going to start pre-orders fairly soon. Probably within the next couple of weeks, I want to say. And it may even be sooner than that. They'll just have to keep an eye on the website. We're just kind of waiting to make sure that everything's perfect. We don't want there to be even one minor thing. We want to make sure everything is just perfect and good to go. So, but we'll update the website and the Facebook page and stuff like that and let people know. There's also a mailing list. If people wanted to join that, they can email Kristen at anomalyparanormal.com and just put join in the subject line. And then we send out a newsletter. There's past newsletters on our MySpace page and our Facebook page that they can check out too. So it's definitely
and also, we're going to have the link on the ParaX website. So if you'd like to go to the sponsors page, you can go on there and you can see anomalyparanormal.com on there, and it will take you directly to where those packs are located so that you can get yours. And you got to have one, folks, because this is going to be the thing that everybody's going to want. Why not get yours first and make everybody else jealous?
And since I do the website on ParaX, when they're available, I'll put a tab on the top as well, so you can click it and go straight to the bag.
That's right. Yep. That's right. So there you go, and you will want to get this too. And we are still receiving calls. I don't know if we got a winner as of yet for the prize, but we want you to continue to call in 248-353-7685. As we mentioned, the 11th caller is going to win a ticket to an event that Kristen Garland is putting on. Chip Coffey's going to be there. John Zavis going to be there. Adam Blythe's going to be there. It's going to be a lot of fun. So hope that you win. If you don't win this time, I think that Kristen has also been very gracious to allow us to give away another ticket next week. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. I was hoping you were going to say that because she'll probably kill me after I get off the radio and say, no, I was only going to give away one.
Definitely.
But, Kristen, we appreciate that. So we're going to see if we have a winner as of yet. Probably so. Because
we've got like a 30-second delay through the chat room. So somebody popped in and said they're the 9th caller. So anytime now.
Yeah, anytime it's going to happen. Wow. So we're hoping that they'll get on the line so they can talk to Kristen. And it looks like we have a very special winner. Who is the winner tonight, Will?
Well, you know, guys, X rocks.
All right.
This is Mike from Florida.
Hey, Mike. How you doing? Congratulations, sir.
Thank you, guys.
You're very welcome. You're talking to Kristen Garland. We got about 30 seconds.
Hi, Kristen. Nice to meet you.
Hey, thank you so much for calling in. I'm so excited that you won the ticket.
I am too.
Dude, it's going to be so much fun. Bring your sneakers.
Good deal. And if you don't care, Mike, if you can just leave information with Will so that we can get in contact with you, we will get that ticket to you. Probably, I guess, it would be all right, would it, Kristen, just to get his name and email it to you so that way that when he gets there, is that sufficient?
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Name, email address, maybe even a phone number just in case.
Okay. Sure. All right, we'll take care of that, no problem. Mike, congratulations, sir. You are the winner tonight of a great prize.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
You're more than welcome, sir. We appreciate you calling in. We've got to take a break. Kristen, it's always a pleasure talking to you. If you can stick around for the very next segment just for a little while, we would appreciate it if you can.
Of course.
All right, great. This is the KAPS Paranormal Radio Show on Psychic Radio, powered by CBS.
Psychic Radio. Exploring the unknown and the known. ParaX KAPS with Dave and Tommy Jones. Call now, 248-353-SOUL. We know you're listening. On Psychic Radio. PsychicOnAir.com.
And welcome back to KAPS Paranormal Radio on Psychic Radio, powered by CBS, AOL, and Yahoo. And Dave, at the top of the hour, I forgot to welcome our listeners from KJAQ 96.5 in Seattle, Washington, WYCD in Detroit, and WBMX in Boston.
Yes, welcome to those listeners. We appreciate you so much listening on HD Radio, and we appreciate them so much in the Boston, Washington, and Detroit area. And we're always glad to have you on the KAPS Paranormal Radio Show. Also, to all our listeners on ParaX, thank you so much for being here tonight. And also our international listeners, Tom. We've had several. We had the Netherlands tonight, and I knew I was going to forget. I shouldn't even mention that. Netherlands, and where else did we have?
We have got right now. I'm just looking. Let me refresh the page right quick and see who we got. We've got United Kingdom, Canada, Finland, Norway, and the other that is showing down there is someone listening on a cell phone. Don't know where the cell phone is, but thanks for listening.
on the surface of the moon. Since it doesn't have an address, that must be where it's at. But we're glad you're listening anywhere and everywhere that you can. If you can get 2 tin cans tied together with a string and you can pick us up, thank you so much for being with us. We have Joe Clark back with us. Welcome, Joe.
Thank you.
And also the lovely and talented Kristen Garland. We appreciate her sticking around after the segment. Hi, Kristen.
Hi, you guys. Poor Joe. Sorry, Joe. I didn't mean to cut in on you, buddy.
You're fine.
Oh, no. You got to think of it this way. Joe's been on with us for coming up on 2 hours. We've only had Kristen Garland for a little over 14 minutes. So, but Kristen, again, if you would share about your event and also about your webpage if you can, please. We appreciate you sticking around after this because I just didn't want. We had to go to break and I didn't want to say bye, Kristen. That'd be the end of it. So we wanted to thank you so much for everything you've done.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on. And, yeah, the event's going to be super awesome. We're really, really excited. We kind of took a traditional event and just put a little bit of a spin on it. We have Chip Coffey. If you've never met him, he is the funniest man alive. He's awesome. I love hanging with him. And him, myself, John Zaffis, and Adam Bly are all going to be there, and it is just going to be so much fun. We're going to do lectures and a full buffet dinner with drinks included, and then we're going to do an investigation of the whole place from 10 till 2. So that's going to be really, really fun. And it's, it's one of those places, there's like tons of parking. The food's really, really good. The staff there is amazing. They were just the sweetest people I've ever met. And it's just, I don't know. We're going to have a really good time. Brian and I are both looking forward to putting this on. And we hope people come. It'll be fun.
Indeed. And so, again, folks, I want to mention this website to you. It is anomaliesparanormal.com. It's www.anomaliesparanormal.com.
Take the S off. Anomaly Paranormal.
Anomaly. I'm sorry. Pardon me.
Yeah, no S.
ANOMALIE paranormal.com. You can find out about the event there. You can find out about the Parabag, which I think is going to be a great hit. So you get to find information about that. And also you get a chance to look at Kristen, which is always a good thing. So,
and I scrolled up and got this. Michael from Hawaii in the chat room says, hi, Kristen.
Hi, Michael from Hawaii.
I'd like to be in Hawaii right now.
I would, too.
Aloha, and then I forget there's another word to say, like, I know it's aloha, but there's some mahalo.
Aloha, mahalo? Does that sound close? He'll let us know in just a minute.
He'll let us know in a second.
Yeah, I've got some other choice words about Hawaii that's probably not arable because I'm not there. So I better leave it at aloha, Michael. So
yeah,
David and I,
in Hawaii.
David and I'm saying Joe does not like snow. So Hawaii would be the ultimate place.
Yes, if it doesn't snow anywhere, I'm there. I just hate cold weather. I hate snow. I really, really do.
But now, where Kristen's from, it's cold.
Yeah, I bet it is. Probably not now, but probably would be. But Kristen, thank you so much for being with us tonight. You're a doll as always.
Oh, thank you guys so much for having me. I'm sorry, Joe, for pushing you out of the way there.
No, you're fine. You didn't push me out.
Thanks for putting up with me.
There we go. Kristen Garland, folks, from the Ghost Hunters, a terrific lady, and we appreciate you so much giving the ticket for the event in Pennsylvania. It's going to be great. Again, go to anomalieparanormal.com. You can find out all about it. If you didn't win tonight, you still need to get a ticket because it's worth it, folks. You will enjoy every single moment of it. Thanks, Kristen. We appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much. I'll talk to you soon.
All right,
sure.
Thanks again.
Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Night. Bye.
Terrific lady, Tom.
You can't beat her.
No, not at all. We appreciate her so much. And again, we appreciate Joe Clark allowing the little interruption right there, Joe. Thank you.
You're welcome. Glad to have her on the show.
Thank you. We got about an hour and a little bit better. So we'll be talking more about the paranormal with Joe Clark from Commonwealth Paranormal. And when we come back, we are going to be taking your questions and your calls if you like. You can call 248-353-7685. It's 248-353-SOUL. You can also contact us via the ParaX live chat. Go to the ParaX website at para-x.com. Go to the tab on live chat. You come directly into there. Ask a question that way. Also, instant feedback on the Psychic On Air website, psychiconair.com. We want to hear about your questions about the paranormal. we'll do anything we can to answer them for you. This is the KAPS Paranormal Radio Show on Psychic Radio, powered by CBS.
Universe is ever expanding. Psychic Radio, psychiconair.com, WYCD HD3 Detroit, KJAQ HD3 Seattle, WBMX HD3 Boston, and on AOL Radio and Yahoo Launchcast, powered by CBS Radio. Believe. Para X Caps with Dave and Tommy Jones. 248-353-SOUL. We know you're listening. Psychic Radio.
And welcome back to KAPS Paranormal Radio on Psychic Radio, powered by CBS, AOL, and Yahoo. And Dave, I run the IP address. I like to do this every now and then, of the person on the cell phone listening to us. They are in Herndon, Virginia.
Well, welcome, Herndon, Virginia. We're glad to have you, and we're not checking up on you.
No, I'm just curious. I'm curious by nature.
So if you're there for any reason other than that, not to worry, we won't tell a soul. So there you go. We appreciate you so much listening anywhere and everywhere you can. It's always great to have you here on the KAPS Paranormal Radio Show, and welcome back, Joe Clark.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Great. We've got another EVP we want to play for folks, and this one is, I think it's entitled Sad.
Sad. Okay.
Yes. We were doing the Ghost Box session again, and I asked the question. I said, "Are you happy, sad, or angry?" And a couple of seconds went by, and this child's voice says, "Sad."
Well, it's interesting because anytime a child, I don't know what it is, and I've told folks this before, that I could shake the hand of the devil and just grin at him. But a child's ghost or a child's voice just absolutely just sends chills up my spine for some reason. I don't know why that is, but just the fact of a child being gone and their spirit being there just does that to me.
Yes.
So, that having been said, we're going to play this for you a couple of times. If you want to get your headphones ready, I'll give you advance notice. We're going to play this a couple of times, so you get a chance to listen to it. And this is from the Coal Miners Museum last night.
Are you happy, sad, or angry? Sad. Did you hear that? That was a little kid, too. Are you happy, sad, or angry? Sad. Did you hear that? That was a little kid, too.
And I'm going to throw this in right quick, Dave, before we play it again. Right prior after the question, you hear sad very quick, then he says sad again. I think on my headphones.
Yeah, I thought that too, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, so let's listen to it again. And I heard that too because, as a matter of fact, when I first played through it, that's what I thought it was. I thought that's what it was. You could hear it kind of faintly and quickly as soon as you ask that. You hear the word sad, and then all of a sudden you hear this little child say sad. So we're going to play it one more time, folks, so we'll let you have an opportunity to listen to it.
Are you happy, sad, or angry? Sad. Did you hear that?
You can hear it. Sad. And, that's amazing that in whatever world this is that folks exist in once they pass, you get kind of both sides of the extreme. You get the either you're in wonderful flying around on wings in the clouds, heaven, all this kind of. Then you got the other place. I'll put it that way. But from what we have discovered in the investigations we've done, research we've done, and also listening to folks share their evidence with us and talk to us about even speaking to those who have passed on, is that you can go through the gamut of emotions wherever you happen to be.
Right. And again, what are the odds of that saying sad? That was a direct response to that question.
That's true.
It was.
I mean, it's probably the odds are better winning the lottery than that coming through a radio.
That's right.
And what's the chances of a child being on the radio anyway?
Exactly. Saying sad at the exact same moment you asked that question.
Indeed.
Right.
And given that, let's do one more. This one is entitled Talk Yes. if you want to kind of share what that one's about, Joe.
Okay. Real quickly before I do, I want to give a couple quick shout-outs. My little 13-year-old brother is in the chat room. His name's Jared. He's in the chat room as KSC, so hello, Jared. And also my friend Alan Baldwin, who we've talked about all night, Paintsville Paranormal Society. He's in the chat room, so hello, Alan. Thanks for coming in. Now back to the clip we're about to play. I asked the question if it would like to talk to someone else, and I think this is what you're ready to play. And it said yes.
Okay, great. So we're going to play that one for you a couple of times, folks. Again, listen very carefully. It's entitled Talk Yes. So we're going to play that right now for you.
Are you wanting to talk to anybody else?
It's real faint, but you can hear it.
Yeah, you can. We'll play it one more time.
Are you wanting to talk to anybody else?
Yeah, you could hear the yes in there. And again, folks, that's one of the reasons why we talked earlier about the real-time spirit communication sessions that you do. You have to get attuned to listening to it. Now, this is the hack box, 469, with the pecking noise in the background. Tom loves that. I hate it. Which, and I think, and Tom's got a good point. It kind of focuses you on listening to it when you've got the ticking noise. The 470, as I understand, doesn't do that. But you have to get your ear attuned to listening for those kind of things. And again, you're listening for direct responses. If you said, would anybody like to talk to us, and you hear Larry King, you kind of go, oh, okay, maybe we picked up CNN or something. But when you get those like that, it's a pretty good confirmation that you're talking to someone.
Exactly. We got last winter I did an investigation at an abandoned house, and I was using that. And this is the longest recording that I've ever gotten. The spirit said, quote, I need your assistance. To me, that was just awesome.
Oh yeah. Okay, let's see. We got one more. These are kind of fun.
And I've got to add this. There's a couple that we cannot play over the radio.
Indeed, yes.
And I was going to touch on that earlier. People say, on the Radio Shack Hack boxes or any of the boxes like that you're getting radio frequencies, but to say some things that you hear on these you're not going to hear that on the radio station.
That's right. Exactly. So that's a good confirmation right there, is that it is not radio interference. Now, again, you do have some radio frequencies that are on there because that's how it works. It has to be there. But when you get those kind of vulgarities that come across, that's actually a confirmation, because, again, FCC regulations would not allow someone to say that over the air. Why don't you try it, Tom? Let's see if you get kicked off.
No. I like CBS. I'm going to stick right here.
I'm just going to throw Tom under the bus just to prove a point. So.
I guarantee you, if you play some of the things that I've gotten with the Ghost Box, even there at the museum, you would definitely get kicked off.
That's what we were talking about, earlier, before the show. David and I were talking, so we can play them 2 or 3 of those tonight, because what you picked up.
Right.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so when you hear those kind of things, it should make your ears perk up a little bit, because something is going on, and who knows. But anyway, we'll play one more, and this is at least one more, because we got a little less than an hour before the end of the show. And again, I want to mention this, folks. If you do have a question, whatever question it happens to be about the paranormal, please ask us about it. We'd love to hear from you at 248-353-7685. If you'd like to come to the ParaX website and get into the live chat, just hit the tab at the top that says live chat. You're in immediately. You can listen to the show while you're there, as well as chat with us and tell us what your question is. Or if you want, you can use instant feedback. Go to psychiconair.com, go to the instant feedback form, just type in what your question is. We will get it immediately so that we can discuss it and talk to you about the paranormal. So we're going to play one more here. Let's see what we got, or at least one more. This one is entitled Rick. So, what's that about, Joe?
There's actually 2 of those.
Sure.
And we kept getting the name Rick through the Ghost Box. It just so happened one of the members of my team is Rick Roberts, and he was with us.
Mm-hmm.
And So who knows if it was trying to communicate with him or someone else. The only ironic thing was it kept calling his name, but it would never say anything else to him.
Wow. Interesting.
And it's not the first time that we've gotten Rick while using the ghost box at the museum. I think the second time we were there, it called his name a couple of times as well.
Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to play, this is entitled Rick 2. We're going to play that one a couple of times, and then we'll do Rick 3 as well. We'll get both of them so that you can hear the name Rick. So, folks, if you're ready, we're going to play it a couple of times for you.
Rick. That was Rick again.
All right, you can hear that we play it again.
Rick. That was Rick again.
That's right. Now we're going to play Rick 3.
Touch the person that you would like to talk with. Rick again.
All right, one more time.
Touch the person that you would like to talk with. Rick again.
And see that there again, folks. One of the things that we learned, Tom and I did, in an investigation we did that was using the hack box, is that we went to a cemetery. This is Logan, of course. We heard Logan on an EVP, went back and asked for Logan and got him again. And when we did, he was coming across the box with the same voice, same inflection, same guy, same place. Now, again, you may say, well, you might hear the name Rick a lot. And you probably would on the radio. If you listen for 24 hours, you're liable to hear the name Rick. But the fact that you hear it on two separate occasions at the same place with the same type of voice, not so consequential, I don't think.
Right. Again, what's the chances of it saying Rick 2 times on that investigation, or 3 times that's one investigation? One of them was so bad we couldn't use it. And then on previous investigations a couple of times. So, what's the chances of that happening on the radio? Slim to none.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right. So again, those things happen. What we want to do, folks, again, we want to throw this open for those that may have some questions if you'd like to ask. Tom, are there any questions from the chat room?
Yes, I do. I'm also going to save this one. It's actually a 2-part question. I'm going to save this one before coming back into the break.
Cool. All right. We'll do that. And we got to take a break right now. We'll be right back with Joe Clark from Commonwealth Paranormal and your questions. This is the KAPS Paranormal Radio Show on Psychic Radio, powered by CBS.
Psychic Radio. 248-353-SOUL. Who you gonna call? Para X KAPS with Dave and Tommy Jones. On the air now on Psychic Radio. PsychicOnAir.com.
And welcome back to KAPS Paranormal Radio on Psychic Radio, powered by CBS, AOL, and Yahoo. And Dave, the third hour is coming quick.
Yes, it is. As always, we have a great time on the KAPS Paranormal Radio Show with great guests such as Joe Clark from the Commonwealth Paranormal folks, and we appreciate him so very much. Had a great time already, and we got it's going to fly, which it always does. We have fun.
Yes, it does. I've got a chat room question for Joe. This is from Andrea from Knoxville, Tennessee.
Okay.
Have you ever got anyone speaking another language on the Radio Shack hack box? And also the second part is, if you did, would that make it even more paranormal, in your opinion?
I have never gotten anything in a foreign language, which it would definitely make it more interesting. I'm not sure it would make it any more paranormal, but it would be more interesting. That brings up a point that I've always wondered, not necessarily relating to the hack box, but especially here in the eastern Kentucky area, this was at one time the hunting grounds for the Native Americans. And all these paranormal investigations that we were doing, why are we not getting the Native Americans when we do paranormal investigations?
That is a good question, because David and I have came up with a theory, and again, it's the KAPS Paranormal Radio theory on this. I'll let David go ahead and.
Yeah, what we think happens with that, and it's just me, is that obviously, whenever we start getting communication from spirits, we tend to see things happen, such as a murder or great trauma, or lots of deaths at once. It always seems to be around some kind of a very intense emotional thing that prompts it, typically.
Right.
with the Native Americans, as I understand it, is that they were so in touch with their spiritual side, is that death really didn't have any kind of a hold on them, or didn't really have a lot of fear attached to it. So when they died, it was more of a transition to them than it was to us, for example, because we fight death kicking and screaming, which is, that's fine. You should, it's, eat right and have lots of fiber and, that kind of stuff. But, to them, it seemed that the transition wasn't anywhere nearly as traumatic. And so that's the reason why we think that maybe the evidence or the communication that we would like to have from the Native Americans might not be there just because it was just so natural for them.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. Very good.
Well, it's KAPS Paranormal Radio.
That and a quarter will get you a cup of coffee, David. That's
right. But there you go. And if you're out there tonight and you'd like to share a differing viewpoint on that, we'd love to hear about it, because this is a terrific topic, if you would, about Native Americans and spirituality, and also communicating with them, because there are some folks that do, but there also is some ritualism involved that we may not be getting right, which I'm sure we're not getting right because we've not done it. But there are some folks who are very rich in their experience on Native American culture, and some of the ritual that you go through for that, and that might be a precursor to it. You may have to do that so that they will talk with you. I don't know. So, but that's one that we've got. We just throw that out there to you all. But again, if you do have a question tonight, we'd love to hear one from you at 248-353-7685. Also through the chat room, you can do that on the ParaX website. Also on the instant feedback form on psychiconair.com. Send us that. We would love to answer your questions. Any other questions, Tom?
Yes, I do. What is Joe's most convincing piece of evidence that he's ever got?
Most convincing? Wow. There's been a number of things. When I was with another group here in Kentucky, a group called Kentucky Shadow Chasers, which is another great group. And as a matter of fact, we're going to do some upcoming stuff with them. We actually caught an apparition on video at a place called Diamond Point in Harrisburg. But probably the piece of evidence that I'm probably the most, that I probably like the most, it's nothing really that great. It's just one single EVP. It was one of our last investigations. It was in a private residence down just outside of Somerset, Kentucky. And I know we're not supposed to do this, but I broke off away from the rest of the group, and I went into the basement alone, and I did an EVP session. And I asked the question, and I said, "What color is your eyes?" And I got this voice that said, "Brown." I mean, it's a male's voice.
Really?
And yeah, and I think what really, why I like that so much is I know there was nobody else even remotely close to me when I got that. So to me, that is probably my favorite piece of evidence, because I know it's very legit.
Indeed. And we got lots of folks that are talking in the chat room talking about foreign languages and got some great ideas. A lot of them have had some German ones. I think Laurie on the Chat People Radio show is saying I've had some foreign language ones. And we have one show on ParaX International. It's Contacto Mystico. It's Javier Ochoa who's the one who does that particular show. And he does box sessions on his show all the time. And of course it's in Mexico. And what you'll hear some Spanish-speaking EVP or communications, and also English. And occasionally you'll hear some other languages thrown in there as well. So there's quite a number of them that come across there. So for that question that was asked about foreign languages, yes, indeed, they do happen, and they're not all regionalized either. There was another one, Tom, and I'm trying to remember where I saw it at, and I apologize because my mind is frozen for some reason. But someone had sent us a box session that came in, and I know what it was. I'm sorry. It was at Fort Mifflin. Mark Davis had sent this particular EVP, and by the way, I got the great occasion to narrate part of a DVD that's coming out from Fort Mifflin on the voices that come from Fort Mifflin. And one of those wasn't a foreign language. They couldn't understand it, and they sent it to a professor at a university who was a linguist, and asked him what it was, and he said it was a foreign language EVP. So, yes, indeed, that does happen.
Our good friends from Leicester Paranormal, Danny and Cormac, had one that they picked up that it was French. They're over in Ireland, and they had it translated, and it basically says something to the effect, if I'm not mistaken, that I'm looking at you through the window. prior to them getting that EVP, they heard a knock or a click at the window. So that was pretty wild.
Yeah, it is. And we'll have to get them back on again sometime. They're a lot of fun. Danny and Cormac are hilarious. They really are. We had an opportunity. We were going to have them on a show back several months ago, and what happened was they had a violent electrical storm that was going on there and knocked them off the internet, so we didn't get a chance to talk with them. So, Danny and Cormac, if you're out there listening, we're going to have you back very, very soon. Anyway, yeah. Any other questions that you have, folks? Again, we would love to hear from you at 248-353-7685. Anything paranormally associated, we'd love to hear from you. Just any kind of question at all. I know that there's a lot of burning questions out there concerning the paranormal. One thing I do want to ask, and this is concerning EVP sessions, and what your protocol is on those, Joe. Do you have folks, we are with groups sometimes who say, all right, just talk normally. If you're going to talk normally. Then we have others who say, no, be very, very quiet, don't say a word. Do you have any particular feeling toward that one way or the other?
My rule is in my group is absolutely no whispering, because it's too easily to mistake somebody's whisper for an EVP. I know you see it on television, the guys are on there whispering all the time, and that just, I'm like, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
And we've actually had that, in other groups I've been in, have listened for hours and hours trying to figure out if it's an EVP or is it an investigator.
Yeah,
so,
correct.
I just say use your normal voice. Another instance, when I was with another group, we had a jokester in the group, and he was a great guy, but he was always joking. He liked to speak in cartoon voices and all of that.
Uh-huh.
Well, on an investigation one night, he did some kind of funny voice, and another investigator picked it up on his digital recorder. And when he heard it, he thought it was an EVP. And, man, he thought it was the greatest thing ever. And they had like a week-long debate, and the guy didn't remember saying it. So they were trying to figure out, did I say it or was it an EVP? So I just said, everybody speak in your normal voice.
Agreed. I think it's the proper way to do it, too.
And I think attitude greatly affects your investigation. I said that yesterday in the seminar. If you go in with a stuck-up nose, you're not going to get much of nothing. If you go in talking like a normal tone of voice, hi, how you doing, you're going to get results.
Exactly. And I think if you're respectful toward the spirits, you'll have better results.
Exactly.
I know investigators. I've had investigators in my group in the past that would go in and provoke like crazy, trying to increase activity, and still not get that much. And I have learned the nicer you are to them, the nicer they're going to be to you. Basically.
Yeah. That really makes sense because, here in this physical life we're in right now, that makes sense.
Right.
If you're not nice to somebody, they're not going to talk to you. And so, if you carry your personality to the other side, and you start provoking or you start asking dumb questions and don't thank them or anything like that, they're probably going to say, to hell with you. And I don't blame them. I do that now. Just say, well, to hell with you. I'm not going to talk to you. And you got to remember that ghosts are people too. We said that many, many times. We'll say it again. Because if these are personalities that are on the other side, that are very unique to that individual, they were that way here, they're that way now. So be polite. Now, there are times, and provocation is another good one that we need to talk about, because some folks do a lot of provocation when they speak to the spirits. And they've gotten some results from that. I'll put it that way, because sometimes they do provocation and things happen. What's your feelings in general on provocation, Joe?
Okay, at one time, I used to be really big on provoking. And it was last year, actually, when I went to Scarefest, I was talking with John Zaffis. And after talking to John and listening to his presentation, it completely changed my outlook on provoking. I had never really, he just brought up some things I never really thought of. And I think when you guys mentioned it yesterday in the presentation, you go in and you provoke a spirit, you get to go home.
That's right.
That family, that client has to stay there, and they're dealing with a very irate spirit now. And they're wondering, when am I going to get a night's sleep?
That's right. So it's always remember that, folks, because at Waverly, and I was happy to see that they do this, is that they do not allow provoking anytime. Right. And that's the reason why, is because they had a group that went in not too long ago that did some provoking on the 4th floor. And they said for weeks after that, The spirits were throwing pieces of concrete at people, pushing people, scratching people, just doing all manner of kind of mischievous stuff. And the reason why they said it happened was because of the provoking. And they tell you now. They said, if we catch you provoking, we're going to ask you to leave because we have to deal with the spirits after you're gone. And so it's a great point that you be careful about that, folks, and realize who you're dealing with as well. We got to take a break, and we'll be right back with Joe Clark from Commonwealth Paranormal and your questions. This is the KAPS Paranormal Radio Show on Psychic Radio, powered by CBS.
We know you're listening. Talk about telekinetic activity on Psychic Radio. Now back to Para X KAPS with Dave and Tommy Jones. Call now 248-353-SOUL. Psychic Radio. PsychicOnAir.com. Believe.
And welcome back to KAPS Paranormal Radio on Psychic Radio, powered by CBS, AOL, and Yahoo. And Dave, our brother from Buffalo, is in the chat room. Reverend Tim, he's popped in.
All right, Reverend Tim, good to see you as always, and welcome back. We're glad to have you as always. And for all the other listeners out there, thank you so much for sticking around with us. We are on the last legs of our show, and we appreciate Joe Clark being with us from Commonwealth Paranormal. Welcome back, Joe.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
And I've got a question for you from chat. Joe, during an EVP session, do you inform the spirit that they are dead?
No, I always ask, do you know that you have passed on? And just like we were talking during the break, another thing that I do is, a lot of times we as investigators, we just assume that they know that they have passed on a lot of times. And we walk in, and the first thing we ask, is there any spirits here? Or is there any ghosts here? Whatever term you want to use. Well, if they don't know they have passed on, then they don't know they are a spirit. They don't know they are a ghost. So I'm trying to break myself to I start asking, is there anyone with us?
Yeah,
and
good point. Spoiler alert, folks. Spoiler alert. Because if you've ever seen The Sixth Sense with Bruce Willis, if you've ever seen The Others with Nicole Kidman, you may be getting a little bit of a glimpse of what they are seeing from the other side of us. Is that sometimes they don't know that they're dead. And so if you go in and say, are there any spirits here? You can imagine somebody walking in your house, seeing any ghosts in here, and say, well, hell no. Not that I know of. And, if we have kicked the bucket, say, for example, what's our response going to be? We're not going to say anything because, no, there's no ghosts in here. We're not one. And wouldn't it be kind of weird to find out that somehow this existence we're in right now, we are in spirit somewhat, and what we think is physical really isn't after all. Now, there's something to go to bed thinking about tonight, folks.
True. Yes, it is.
What if their reality is reality and what ours is not? Wow.
I got another chat room question. They're coming in. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Has your group ever tried to energize a haunted location by using something to electrify the air in hopes of helping a manifestation? That was a mouthful, by the way.
It's kind of ironic. No, we haven't, but not long ago, I talked with members of my group about trying that at some point in the future. But as of yet, we have not tried that.
Someone had talked to David and I a while back about taking a couple of car batteries in a haunted location.
Yeah.
Now, I just don't see me packing heavy car batteries with me.
No.
I might be putting one in one of Kristen's backpacks if I get it. It would hold one if they're that big, but that'd be kind of rough.
Yeah, it would. And, of course, the energy thing, it may be one of those things similar to a sip of water versus having a fire hose on, too. Is that if somebody kicks a fire hose on and has a fire hose spraying all the time, you're not liable to go up there and get a drink out of it. Because it's just too much. And that may be what it is about the energy, about pushing energy into the atmosphere. I don't know. Maybe they do it. I know that there are battery drains from time to time that happens from your equipment. And so sometimes you have to let them just kind of do their thing. But we do want to try that sometimes and see what happens with it, to where you can potentially energize the atmosphere, much like a thunderstorm does, because at Waverly on Saturday night, that's what happened, and we had a ton of activity the previous night.
Excuse me, go ahead.
Sure, no, go ahead, that's great.
I was going to point out, your experience at Waverly is what prompted me to talk to my group about trying something like that.
Yeah, because it just, there are ways of ionizing the atmosphere, if you will, by putting a charge in the air. So we're going to try that. And folks, again, this is the spirit of research, is trying something different to see what happens when you do it. And, we also talked about this too, is that we don't want to get in a rut to where we do everything the same every time, to where, we get into a kind of a ritual, if you will, and just do everything because we saw somebody else do it. Try something different. Yeah, I don't know what it could be, but give it a shot. See what happens. You'll be surprised. Somebody had to have found out somewhere, somehow, that the apparitions that show up affect an EMF meter. I'm sure they weren't laying in bed and said, you know what, I bet this will work. And just started taking them. It just didn't happen all at once. Somebody tried, and it worked. So give it a shot. Tom and I have mentioned this before. We were doing the Governor Scholars presentation at Morehead State University, and one of the young people there came up with a fantastic idea about EVP. And it's just because he was thinking of it. And we said, go out and make one of those things. Let's give it a shot. You just never know.
You never know. Yeah, and Joe was there. Again, you talking like a 14, 15-year-old kid thinking of these things, and we're here, hadn't even thought about it.
Yeah, he was a very intelligent young man. I have to say that.
He's very intelligent. I hope one of these days we can bring him on and say he developed this idea.
Yeah.
Indeed. And what I thought
discuss his idea too much, you want to give it away.
That's right. That's right. So I just got to throw it out there. It has something to do with EVP and invention, so there. So if you want to guess what it is that he did and you want to make one, go right ahead. But anyway, what I thought was even significant about that too, Joe, and we appreciated the offer that you gave to us to be there, because I know you set that up and that was great. That the fact that we got a chance to speak to some of the future great minds that are going to be out there, the thinkers, the developers, the inventors, these kind of people. I think it says a lot about the paranormal field today versus where it would have been 10 to 15 years ago, where we were invited to speak to something about that and talk about the paranormal in front of these folks at a university. I thought was very significant.
Yes, I agree. Shows you that the paranormal is becoming more and more accepted.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And that's through the great work of Joe Clark and the Commonwealth Paranormal folks, and for all you other folks that do this kind of stuff. The only thing I can tell you is this. We're all going to differ on the way we do things. We're all going to differ on what we think is evidential and what isn't. We're all going to differ on whether we think an orb is an orb or a dust speck, and then that's all right. But whatever you do, folks, be ethical in what you do.
I agree.
If you want to destroy the paranormal field right now, is be unethical. Do something that cheats. Make up something that isn't there. If you want to destroy yourself in the paranormal community quickly, that's the best way to do it. Because all you do is you arm the skeptics with enough ammunition to shoot holes in what we do. So be ethical whatever you do.
Right.
And I will now descend from my soapbox.
Again,
Excuse me.
Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
I brought this up yesterday in my presentation. It only takes one group to mess up, and it ruins the whole field for everybody.
It certainly does.
It reflects on all of us. One person messes up in the field, it's a reflection on all of us. Don't let that one group be you.
That's right. Indeed. You're exactly right, sir. And we have fought this battle ever since we've been in existence. As a matter of fact, some of that situation just come up this past week. I'm not going to get into it because it's not necessary. But the thing about it is that whenever you do something like that, is that we're lumped together as a whole in a lot of ways when you talk about the paranormal community. And all it takes is for somebody to say, yep, that's what I thought. They're just trying to make money off of it. They're trying to do this off of it. They're trying to pull a fast one on us and all this kind of stuff. And that's all it takes, as you said, is one group to mess up in a bad way. And you can be mistaken. People can be mistaken about things. We understand that. But when you intentionally go out to try to mislead someone, it doesn't just affect you, it affects others. We got to take a break and right back after this. First of all, I want to say happy birthday, Jimmy Morris. 21 and holding. Happy birthday, sir. This is the KAPS Paranormal Radio Show on Psychic Radio, powered by CBS.
Psychic Radio. Call now. 248-353-SOUL. Para X KAPS with Dave and Tommy Jones. On Psychic Radio. PsychicOnAir.com. We know you're listening.
And welcome back to KAPS Paranormal Radio on Psychic Radio, powered by CBS, AOL, and Yahoo. And welcome back, Joe Clark.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
We got to mention this because we're going into the last segment of the show, Joe. Again, 3 hours flies, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It seems like we just started and 3 hours is gone.
Quick question. How can they contact Commonwealth Paranormal?
Okay. Before I answer that, real quick shout out. My mom just told me she's listening to the show, so hi, Mom. Happy birthday, Jimmy. And also a shout out to my friend Blade. Blade was supposed to be with us yesterday. He got hurt when he couldn't be there, so Blade, we hope to get well soon. Now, to answer the question, to how can they contact me? Our website is www.commonwealth-paranormal.net. They can contact me there. We also have a MySpace. It's myspace.com/Commonwealth Paranormal. And you can also email me at commonwealthparanormal@yahoo.com. And just drop us a line on either of those places, and we'll get right back to you.
Cool. How far will you go on an investigation?
We'll go, we pretty much stick to the Kentucky area, but I mean, it depends on the activity and severity of the case. We've gone as far as Quincy, Illinois, southern Indiana, West Virginia, southern Ohio. It really just depends on the case. I think I brought up a point yesterday. I had a client call me one time not long ago from southern Indiana and want me to come down just because his ceiling fan was turning by itself. Well, I couldn't see traveling 3.5 hours for a turning ceiling fan. So I gave that to a local group down there. But if he'd have called me and said, hey, I've got apparitions dancing all over the floor and I've got things flying across the room, then I would have made the trip.
And call us too there, man.
Yeah.
We'll be right on your heels. What's coming up for Joe Clark, Commonwealth Paranormal? What some events you all got planned or going to? Or
actually, we have a lot going on, if I can remember it all. August the 5th, you and I and Dave are doing the investigation at a location there in the Georgetown area. I don't want to release that name just yet.
And I'm going to take you to Sadie'ville Cemetery, by the way.
Yeah, I definitely want to go to Sadie'ville Cemetery. Ever since I heard your EVPs, I've been chomping at the bits to go there. September the 19th, I'll be with you guys at Octagon Hall in Franklin, Kentucky. I'll be speaking down there. I'm really looking forward to that. And then October the 30th, I'll be at the Mullins Log Cabin Country Getaway in Berry, Kentucky. I'll be presenting ghost stories from the grave and beyond. And then the following night, I will be at a show in Midway, Kentucky at the Thoroughbred Theater. The show is Halloween with Elvis and Marilyn Monroe. And will feature Elvis tribute artist Jesse Aaron and his lovely wife, Terry. They'll be doing a tribute to Elvis Presley and Marilyn Monroe. And following the show, everyone's bought a ticket to the show can go on a ghost walk of historic Midway, Kentucky, and I'll be the one conducting the ghost walk. And I'm really looking forward to that.
Oh, yeah. That sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. But we appreciate you being on tonight, Joe. You have been terrific as always, and had a great time at the museum yesterday. Was a great time. And hopefully when you have another one, please let us know. We'd love to be there.
Definitely, we will.
And I got to throw this in right quick, Dave, because we got some more in the chat room. The ParaX server may be going offline for about 30 minutes tonight around midnight to 1 o'clock. Our hosting company is switching us over to a new server. So it's not ParaX, they're just switching the server over. When the new server is online, all the links are still going to be the same, so just a different audio server.
Indeed. And we have a very special presentation we got to do right now, Tom, and this is for a friend of ours on ParaX Radio who is reaching a milestone tomorrow. So we appreciate Will doing this. If you will, Will.
This is Space Command to Zoom All systems are go for your message to Jimmy.
Hey, Jimmy, it's your birthday. I'm in charge of the stars, and I'm here to say, hey, Jimmy, you're the big star today. My name is Zoom, and I live on the moon, but I came down to Earth just to sing you this tune. 'Cause, Jimmy, it's your birthday today. A present for you I wanted to find, an outer space creature, a one of a kind, a wild womp or a cuckoo chew, a snaffle drop or a buzzer snooze, or maybe a three-eyed tickle shay for your birthday. Did you ask?
What's a cuckoo chew?
Well, up on the moon it's nothing new, but that won't do for you on your birthday. I searched behind the clouds and stars. I even zoomed my flight to Mars and met my friend the Saucer Man, and he said,
hey, Zoom, I got the business plan. What your friend needs is something new. So how about a song just from you?
And so tonight, when you're in bed, I'll be singing to you as I zoom overhead, singing Jimmy, happy birthday, singing Jimmy, happy birthday, singing Jimmy, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Jimmy. See you next year.
Okay. That is a first on Parax.
Yes, it is. And happy birthday, Jimmy Morris. And you can blame Marla from Stirring the Cauldron for that if you'd like. But happy birthday, Jimmy Morris, a terrific friend of ours, Tom.
Yes, he is. Another brother from Texas. We got brothers everywhere.
Yeah, we do.
Got one in Moorhead, too, now.
Yes, we do. And, folks, we've got to run, and we've had a great time tonight. I hope you have, too. It's always a pleasure when we get an opportunity to be on with you, and we are very humbled by the fact that we have you folks listening to us. So, again, we appreciate you so much. Come back next Sunday at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. We'll be right here waiting for you. This is Dave.
And this is Tom. Good night, everyone.